Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today, we listen. Frederick Vettese's book, Retirement Income for Life, Getting More Without Saving More, in which we probe into maximizing retirement income by strategically managing withdrawal rates and investment risks amidst uncertain economic conditions and personal spending shocks. Frederick Vettese was chief actuary of Morneau Sheppel for 27 years before turning his attention to the challenges faced by Canadians as they approach retirement. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. Today, let me take you through 3 stories that illustrate the nuances of maximizing retirement income by strategically managing withdrawal rates and investment risks, even when faced with economic uncertainties and unexpected spending shocks. These stories are about real people navigating their retirements, each facing unique challenges that offer invaluable lessons on how to achieve financial security without having to save more. The first story revolves around a couple, the Thompsons, who thought they had it all figured out. Nick and Susan Thompson were ready to retire. They had meticulously planned their retirement finances, adhering to the well-known 4% rule. This rule suggests that retirees withdraw 4% of their savings in the first year of retirement, adjusting the amount for inflation each subsequent year. It sounded foolproof at first, offering a balance between security and flexibility. But life, as we know, often throws unexpected curveballs. For Nick and Susan, those curveballs came in the form of unforeseen expenses. First, their roof started leaking, costing them a hefty $20,000 for urgent repairs. Then, their son Brett needed help buying his first home, a $30,000 gift they hadn't anticipated. Lastly, Nick underwent a surgical procedure that required several months of recovery and additional caregiving costs. These unplanned expenses forced them to withdraw more from their retirement savings than initially planned. As their funds dwindled faster than expected, they were faced with a harsh reality. The strategy they had relied on so heavily was falling apart, and yet the Thompsons were not alone in this experience. This leads us to our next story, where another couple faced similar trials but took a different path. The second story is about Rita and Paul, who approached their retirement with a different mindset. Unlike the Thompsons, Rita and Paul did not fully trust the 4% rule. Instead, they decided to be more conservative with their withdrawals and aimed to live off the interest from their investments, preserving their principal as much as possible. It seemed like a wise choice at the time: minimal risk, steady income. However, their plan had a critical flaw. While they were initially able to live comfortably on the interest, inflation began to eat away at their purchasing power. Over the years, as inflation crept up, their carefully calculated income began to fall short of covering their basic needs. To make matters worse, the interest rates, which had been relatively stable when they first retired, began to fluctuate. This uncertainty left them drawing less each year than they needed to maintain their lifestyle. As they entered their late 70s, Rita and Paul faced a painful decision: dip into their principal or significantly reduce their standard of living. They realized too late that relying solely on interest without a flexible plan for tapping into their principal was not a sustainable strategy. Their story teaches us that while preserving capital might seem like a prudent choice, it doesn't account for the realities of inflation and market volatility, which can drastically affect retirement income. This brings us to our third story, which explores a more dynamic approach to managing retirement savings. The third story follows Maria, a single retiree who adopted a more adaptable strategy. Unlike the Thompsons and Rita and Paul, Maria decided to take a calculated risk with her investments. She diversified her portfolio, balancing safer bonds with higher-risk stocks to capitalize on market growth. Maria knew the market could be unpredictable, but she was prepared for the ups and downs. Instead of sticking rigidly to a fixed withdrawal rate or solely relying on interest, Maria adjusted her withdrawals based on her portfolio's performance. When the market performed well, she allowed herself to withdraw a bit more, enjoying the fruits of her good fortune. In leaner years, she tightened her belt, withdrawing only the minimum required to cover her essential expenses. This approach not only gave her flexibility but also peace of mind. By not locking herself into a rigid strategy, Maria managed to preserve her savings much longer. When a black swan event hit, a sudden market downturn, Maria's diversified investments cushioned the blow. She avoided panic selling and instead reassessed her financial plan, made minor adjustments, and stayed the course. Maria's story illustrates the power of adaptability and the importance of staying engaged with one's retirement plan. Her willingness to adjust and adapt her strategy allowed her to maintain her lifestyle without fear of outliving her savings. These stories show us that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to managing retirement savings. The Thompsons, Rita and Paul and Maria each faced unique challenges that required different strategies. The common thread, however, is the need for a flexible and dynamic approach that considers both market risks and personal circumstances. The traditional 4% rule might not suffice in the face of unexpected expenses, inflation, or market downturns. Likewise, relying solely on investment interest without a strategy for accessing principal can leave retirees vulnerable to the whims of the market. And while taking calculated risks, like Maria, can provide more growth opportunities, it also requires a willingness to adapt and change course when necessary. By understanding these different approaches and their outcomes, we learn that maximizing retirement income isn't just about how much you save. It's about how you manage and adapt your withdrawals and investments over time. Flexibility, diversification, and an awareness of personal and economic risks are key to ensuring that retirement savings last a lifetime. As the editor of Hardly, through understanding these strategies, we can see that the future of retirement planning lies not in rigid rules, but in adaptable strategies that evolve with both the market and our personal lives. In wrapping up, let's revisit the critical point of maximizing retirement income by strategically managing withdrawals and investment risks. To reinforce this idea, let's look at the story of John, a retiree who initially ignored the impact of investment fees on his savings. John had a solid retirement plan, drawing a fixed percentage from his investments each year. However, he overlooked the high fees associated with his mutual funds, which silently eroded his returns. Over time, those fees added up, consuming a significant portion of his retirement income. Realizing this too late, John switched to low-cost index funds, which dramatically improved his financial situation. His story highlights a crucial, yet often ignored aspect of retirement planning: minimizing fees to maximize income. This story serves as a reminder that even small details like investment fees can have a profound impact on the longevity of retirement savings. It reinforces the importance of regularly reviewing and adjusting one's strategy to adapt to changing circumstances. In conclusion, managing retirement income effectively isn't just about how much money you have. It's about making informed decisions that account for risks, costs, and changing needs. Staying proactive and adaptable ensures financial stability throughout retirement. As the editor of Hardly, by learning these lessons, we can better prepare for the uncertainties of retirement, ensuring our golden years are truly golden.